check the wheels, take a look at the camera. All right, the wheel chocks are set. So, all right, come over here. All right, so basically what's gonna happen now is most people, they fail on the brake test, on the pre-trip, brake test. Now, the way I say it is 99% of the people that fail on the pre-trip is because of the brake test, all right? Now, I cannot do an entire pre-trip because it's really not a benefit for anybody to do the pre-trip the way we do it here in Connecticut. So, but the brake test is actually federal, so it means the same for everybody, all right? So I'm gonna explain very detail of why each step is being done, because most people that fail on the pre-trip is because of the brake test. All right, so I'm gonna get right into it. All right, so now the wheel checks are all set. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the key in the on position, okay? Now, the reason why I put the key in the on position is because the alarm, the low warning alarm and buzzer will not come on unless the key's in the on position. All right, I know some people fail because they didn't put the key in the on position. Now, the one thing I always say is that when you're in a training school, do not repeat, understand. If you understand each step, and why each step is being done, you're not going to memorize, you're going to understand it. So the first thing you do is put the key in the on position, right? That's for the alarm. Without the key in the on position, the alarm will not come on. So that you have to understand that. The second thing you have to do is release the maxis, right? I'm going to release the tractor and the trailer. All right, so I have 125 pounds of pressure. Now it's going to drop to 90 PSI. Now, what's going on with that is this. I'm going to give you an analogy. So basically, if you have a balloon and you want to find out if the balloon has any leaks, you cannot find out if there's any leaks in the balloon unless you put air into the balloon. Then you can hear it and see the leak if it has one. Now, by me releasing the parking brakes, the tractor trailer, I take 30 pounds of pressure from the air and I send it to the system. Now we call that, we charge the system with air. Because without releasing that, you will not have any compressed air flowing to the system for it to leak. I know we had a student that failed a while ago because he forgot to actually release the parking brakes. Now, so again, two things. Key in the on position for the alarm and release the parking brakes so you can charge the system with air. Okay, now the system is fully pressurized. Now I can actually step on the service brake for 1 minute to make sure I don't lose no more than 4 PSI. Okay, now for Class Bs, it's 3 PSI in 1 minute. All right, so the way you tell the inspector is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna apply a firm, steady pressure to my service brake, and within 1 minute, I should not lose no more than 4 PSI, and for Class Bs, it's 3 PSI. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait 1 minute. I look at the clock, I look at the gauge, the PSI. Now, I'm not gonna wait for the whole minute, but if that PSI starts dropping, that means there's a leak somewhere. Now, I'm applying the brake. I use about 10 pounds of pressure to stop the vehicle. Now, if anything is going to leak in the back or in the tractor, it's going to happen now because I'm actually compressing down more, so I'm actually applying more pressure, all right? So I'm going to hold on for a few seconds, and within that time, you should be able to have a leak if you do have a leak, all right? So I'm going to let go of that. Now, the next step is for the alarm. If for some reason now the compressor is always working, all right? It's always working. Anytime you step on the service brake, the compressor or the governor will reactivate the compressor and will supplement the air that you're using when you step on the service brake. If you have a leak somewhere, the compressor will try to keep up with the leak. But if the leak is too massive, then obviously the compressor cannot keep up with it. Now, most truck drivers should be monitoring their gauges as they're driving, but most don't. If you have a leak somewhere and you're not aware you have a leak somewhere, when the PSI drops to a specific level, the springs will engage and you will stop immediately. All right, so we don't want that. Now, they installed an alarm system in here to identify a leak if you're not paying attention. That should happen between 60 and 80 PSI, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and fan down the service brake multiple times, removing air from the tank, and when the pressure falls at that level where the sensor sits, the sensor should activate, allowing me to know that there's a leak somewhere, all right? And that should happen between 60 and 80 PSI. The alarm works. All right, because remember, we're not mechanics. We can't take nothing apart. That's the only way I can identify that the alarm is working, by removing some air from the tank, see if the alarm activates when it should, 60 to 80. My last inspection is the spring brakes. The spring brakes, the emergency brakes, should activate between 20 and 45 PSI, all right? So I'm going to continue to fan down my service brake, removing air from the tank, and when it goes between 20 and 45, the springs should engage. And I will know that because the maxes will come right out. Now one maxi came out, so I'm going to continue to fan down my surface brake, and the other one should come out hopefully within that 20 to 45 psi. The other one came out at 20 psi exactly. All right. So those are basically exactly why you do each step when it comes down to the brake test. All right. I hope this help you out. Again, this is Eddie Cruz for Trucking Masters. Look it over, go back and forth, read it, look it over. But again, you need to understand the braking system. If you want to pass this braking system, you need to understand each step. Key in the opposition for the alarm, release the maxes to charge the system, and continue on to make sure you don't lose for more than 4 psi in 1 minute for Class A's, 3 psi for 1 minute for B's. Make sure the alarm works between 60 and 80. And the last thing is your spring brake should engage between 20 and 45. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Again, Trucking Masters, Eddie, and then I'll see you guys around.